We're so blessed to live in the internet age where all of the information in the world is available to us at our fingertips, and there is no shortage of experts who want to share it with us. Like, there are so many experts on the internet who took off their immunology expert hats and put on their geopolitical hats only to take them off and become ballistic experts. So in this video, I'm going to be shooting pig ears with AR-15s to show you what happens so that the experts can have some more fodder. Why would I make a video like this? Well, let me just read you some of these comments. So this dude is an anime doctor, apparently. He has an anime doctor as his profile picture, and he says, the 223 bullet in ballistics gel, a reasonable approximation of flesh. Notice how the wound cavity starts to develop immediately. Flat blow your ear off. Its supersonic velocity turns sideways in fragments you can also see here. Okay, bud, that's a gel block where the bullet has traveled approximately 12 inches or more in soft gel to create a cavitation thing. That's not what an ear is. I mean, I'll fix that ear. But then we've got Steve, who's stepping off the bench and giving us his take on this, and this is fantastic. First off, the M16 uses tumble bullets. Second, the AR-15 is a rifle barrel. This is the fake news crossover. M16 would have ripped the ear off. The normal bullet used in the AR-15 is a twist rate bullet. That makes the bullet fly straighter, thus a clean hole. Thank you for your service, Steve. Thank you. And finally, we have ear experts who are entering the fray with this to say. This is what an ear looks like after recovering from an AK-15 bullet. There's no way Donald Trump was hit with anything other than glass. That guy's just straight trolling. There's no way he's for real, and my hat is off to you, sir. I salute your trolling and rate it strong to very strong. So to get to the bottom of this, bro science is necessary. I'd like to be wearing a lab coat right now, but this tuxedo t-shirt is about as close as I've got to it. Sorry. So first things first, I put on Dexter gloves and gave myself nightmares by stapling pig ears to cardboard targets. And this is where there's a caveat. We were shooting these targets at about 10 yards, whereas the shooter engaged Trump at 140 yards. But this should exaggerate any damage that the rifle round is going to cause to the ear because it's much closer and the bullet is flying still a lot faster, being closer to the muzzle. Second, you guys probably picked up on this, pig ears are not the same as human ears. They're a lot thicker and they're kind of like pork chops to handle. It's just weird. And third, we don't know what barrel length the shooter used. We're using Daniel's 16-inch AR-15. The 16-inch AR is one of the more popular, most basic types of rifles. If it had a longer barrel, it'd get more velocity, but we're shooting at 10 yards, so who knows. Next, I bought 4 rounds of 223 and 5.56, the caliber that was likely used to shoot at the president. The first round was a Winchester White Box 223, which is a 55 grain projectile loaded at 3240 feet per second. It's pretty cheap, it's widely available, and could have been one of the options available. Next is the Winchester White Box 5.56. This is M193 spec, but it's the same 55 grain pill loaded to 3180 foot per second. It's pretty much going to be the same thing, but you know, 5.56, 223. Now, there were a lot of news reports that the shooter bought a 50 round box of ammunition. This is an uncommon box size for rifle rounds. They're usually sold in like boxes of 20 or boxes of way more than that. So this was the only box that was sold in a 50 count, and it is the Hornady 223 boat tail that's loaded at 3240 foot per second. And then finally, I spent some extra money and bought kind of the nicest round they had in the store. It's just a big box sporting goods store, and that is the Hornady Black 223. That's a 75 grain projectile loaded at 2790 foot per second. So my buddy Daniel, who helped me make this video, couldn't help himself and brought his 2 pig guns to shoot at these pig ears with, and he brought his 4570 lever action gun, which is what Chris Pratt uses in the Jurassic World videos. And he had the Hornady Lever Revolution ammo that's a 325 grain projectile loaded at 2050 foot per second. And because Daniel is a connoisseur, he also had some 8.6 Blackout loaded with some kind of nightmarish projectile that will expand on impact and just yeah, gross. So Daniel got us started by shooting the 223 5.56 and the Hornady 223 into the target. You can see the damage from those 3 rounds. I mean, it just basically punched little bitty holes in the ears. We switched off, and then I got to do the shooting. I shot the 75 grain Hornady as well as the 4570 because Daniel wanted me to absorb the recoil from that son of a gun and the 8.6 Black. But regardless, it just still punched holes. That's the 4570. So even with the Gucci rounds, it just punches a little bitty hole. So here is the bro sciencey bit, the takeaway. All of the ammunition just produced little bitty pinholes in the ear. This was completely predictable. I knew this was going to happen, and I still spent $100 in ammo just to show you that it would happen. Millions of Americans go to the range every week and shoot at paper or cardboard targets with high velocity ammunition, just leaving little holes. Now, you remember that high-speed video that I stole from the Ballistic High Speed channel, which is being creatively used here. But what's happening is the gel block is actually presenting resistance to the projectile, so the energy is coming off the projectile into the gel. The gel is stretching around the projectile, creating a cavity or stretch wound that then snaps shut. And there's a difference. Like if we were shooting at like a, thick piece of prime rib, we would get results more like the gel block. But if we're shooting at something that's more like a piece of cardboard, like say an ear, then you're just gonna get a hole puncher basically. So what's the point of all this? If you've got a know-it-all family member, you can share this with them and let them see with their own eyes what happens when you shoot ears with rifle rounds. And second, quit feeling like you have to go hard on the internet just because there's a topic to talk about. Like, if you don't know anything, just ride the pine. It's okay. Stay classy, internet.